Hi there, these comments are for YS, and this is Michael, and I am from OTCOnline and this is great. We're going to have a TOEFL private lesson probably tomorrow, and you sent me some speaking practice for today. This is excellent, so I can get a general idea of how you do when you speak English. So I have the rubrics I'm looking at right here, integrated speaking rubrics, and I'm getting ready to listen to your practice test. All right, here we go. Now, the first time I want to listen to it without making any comments at all, and the second time I'll make comments and listen to it
So
again.
basically the concept of scatter hoarding, according to the reading, is that animals collect and prepare food when it's plentiful and scatter it in different places so that they can reach this food so easily when it becomes scarce. In the lecture, the professor provides a crystal clear example of this. He says that squirrels collect nuts in autumn when the nuts are abundant, and they clean the nuts to make them easier to eat later. Then they bury these nuts in 100 holes, so if other animals find some of the holes, they still have a lot more holes and nuts when it gets lacking. So just to wrap up, the lecture explains the notion of scatter hoarding.
Yeah, you had some trouble at the end with your language use there, right? That's what kind of threw you off a cliff. Let's listen to it one more time. But let me look here. I'm thinking at this point between 3 and 3.5. I was really thinking maybe around maybe 25 to 27 points, but then when it got to the end of the response, you had some problems. So, YS. So, my first impression right now, I'm going to say 23 to 25 points. That's where I'm going to put you right now. Okay, let's listen to it one more time.
So basically,
See, both of those words are not needed, right? You don't just say so basically. What does that do? That's a hedge. It's a conversation filler. Now, is the TOEFL gonna? Are they gonna give you a lower score because of that? Maybe, maybe not. But it's two words that you don't need. You can spend time in other parts of your response to develop things a little more. So be careful about putting unnecessary words in your speaking
the
responses.
concept of scatter hoarding, according to the reading, is that
So you just start off the concept of scatter hoarding according to the reading passage.
animals collect and prepare food when it's plentiful and scatter it in different places so that they can reach this food so easily when it becomes scarce. In the
So the pacing is not perfect, but I liked how you combined those sentences there.
lecture, the professor provides a crystal clear example of this. He says that squirrels collect nuts in autumn.
Now, I wouldn't say the professor provides a crystal clear example of this. Just say the professor exemplifies this by talking about squirrels, which or that, right? So you don't have to say crystal clear. Crystal clear is a judgment. You're saying something that the speaker is doing well, and that's not what you want to do when you summarize. When you summarize, you want to simply explain the information objectively without liking or disliking the information.
When the nuts are abundant, and they clean the nuts to make them easier to eat later. Then they bury these nuts in 100 holes, so if other animals find some of the holes, they still have a lot more holes and nuts when it gets lacking.
So it was a little bit awkward. Some of your pacing right there, about 15 seconds of your pacing was a little bit awkward.
So just to wrap up, the lecture explains
So just to wrap up the lecture explains, you have no subject in there. That's the problem there. So you might want to say, in conclusion, the speaker explains, right? Or to conclude, the speaker says, something like
the
that.
notion of scatter hoarding.
Right. So I think looking at it, I mean, I think the big issue here, this is good to know. I think delivery, you're having some problems with what I call fluidity of expression, right? So I think you can work in this area. So this is a good idea tomorrow when we do when we do a TOEFL private lesson, we can work on this a little bit. So you need to be able to speak fluidly without a lot of pauses and hesitations. So that's part of it. And you did have one language use, a pretty big language use problem at the end of the response there. So I'm going to put you at 23 to 25 points on this practice test. I think the main issue is delivery. That's the problem. Not a lot of problems with your topic development. You organize and developed your ideas coherently, I think, in an understandable manner, and you had really good control over your vocabulary and your grammar, except for one problem near the end of the response.